This is the Bush Whisperer coming at you from the beautiful Penguin Sanctuary, Cape Town, Boulders, southern tip of Africa, Cape Agulhas. What we choose. I did a video on karma. Go and take a look at it. It's in the first chapter of lessons. My son was just talking to me now about ideas related to what he would do to a mouse. We saw a mouse yesterday out here in the wild. It was the biggest mouse I've ever seen. My gosh, that mouse was huge. I didn't know they made field mice that big. And it definitely wasn't a shrew, it was a mouse. Here in the Penguin Sanctuary. The fattest mouse you've ever seen. It was beautiful. And it's so important to understand how suffering works in our lives. Because suffering, and I want you to consider suffering for a moment. I have a way of feeling words, and I want to share this feeling of words with you. It will transcend the logical mechanisms. The word suff, I want you to feel it. Listen to the onomatopoeic expression of suff. Okay, to suff is to put a dampener on the flame. It's like to put out the flame. That's how I feel it. It's like suff. And there's this fire principle with water being put over it. And it doesn't quite put out the flame, but it turns the flame into a smoldering. So that the flame's not burning and wasting the fuel. Maintaining a steady coals. Like if you put some water over a fire in order to preserve the coals. Saf. Saf relates to Sophia. Ein Sof. It relates to limitation. And relates to knowledge and wisdom in this way. So we speak about Sophia. Sof, Sophie, Ya. Ya is a fundamental expression which brings the empowering principle of manifesting. Sof is this limiting principle. And Sophia, E, is the energy of this. Understanding the way in which the limitation produces this manifestation. Sophia. So this is an experiential thing. And so we can consider from both perspectives, the thinking and the emotional principle. In the way that these experiences that we are bringing towards ourselves, we think of karma as the causal effect of what we've done in the past, which is totally true. Though it's more to do with what we're holding on to in the present, because what we've done in the past imprints on our etheric bodies, and so it produces a habit which puts us in tune with the cycles of time that can maintain and manifest the mechanisms of this habit through the various dynamic polarities of being. Smash a like and share this video. Get it out there if you're enjoying it, if you think it's valuable. Let the algorithms of YouTube work for us. I would say that it's fundamentally important to grasp this reality when we consider it very closely, because it will give us an insight into the nature of this karmic expression. We're expanding upon a video from season 1. Best to watch these videos sequentially from the beginning to the end, season by season, if you want to get the most of it. So to understand how this works is to get a fundamental grasp of the principle of learning. For we get given what we need in order to learn from our past mistakes. Mistakes, as is in manifestations that we brought into being, that is something we would not want to receive or want to take. We want to take harmony so that we can give harmony. This relates to a talk I did on harmonic resonance frequencies, consciousness. And so the principle of giving and taking is a fundamental principle of learning. And so we consider learning to be related to Mercury, that aspect which can touch both the divine and the mundane, that aspect which touches both the masculine and the feminine. Hence Mercury was considered as an androgynous being in ancient times. which is something to consider. Perfect androgyny. And it contains all three symbols of the zodiac principles. So alchemically, it's fundamentally important. The alchemists understood and realized this. So we can consider the mercurial nature of mind and consciousness as the principle of learning, and that this universe is an extension of this consciousness field. And so it is really an instrument of learning, this existence, the state of being, this reality through which we experience life. So everything that we are bringing towards ourselves are actually fundamental learning cues. One needs not be dismayed by one's karmic reality. One needs not be dismissive of it. One needs not feel bad that one has manifested it. One needs to realize that this is here as an aspect of the inner teacher, the inner guru, being expressed through the nature of life to bring us back into alignment with the highest principles to which we are able to resonate harmonically within the nature of our consciousness field, and bring our hearts through in the process to become an expression of the deepest part of ourselves. So every circumstance in life that you experience, be it pleasant or unpleasant, is essentially a class. It's a lesson. In much a way that these short talks are little classes, little lessons here designed to be followed sequentially in order to bring insights and become the fuel of contemplation for yourself. I'm not giving you knowledge. I'm sort of just giving you a few things to think about so that you can discover your own knowledge. Knowledge cannot be given to you. I can't teach you anything. I can share the insights from my experience, and that can stimulate your own path into yourself. Shamanism cannot be taught. There's no way to learn shamanism. There's no training structure specific for a shaman. It's learning to become in tune with oneself. And if somebody else can find some ways to become in tune with themselves, they can express some of the tunes and the harmonies expressed through the attunement with self. And others can think, well, I can do something like that. It won't be that. It won't be exactly that. It'll be me doing my thing, which will bring me in tune with myself. And thus is knowledge born. So consider knowledge for a moment when you consider the nature of this reality. When you consider the nature of existence and experience, consider the way in which it can become an expression of being, and that the universe is the fundamental expression of being that you're bringing into being by being. You see? There's something quite beautiful about that if you really look at the words. And to get a grasp, and to understand these principles, is what it means to become truly human. To realize that these principles are aspects of a dynamic polarity that is being expressed, and not the polarity of 2, the polarity of 4. The number 4 is quite fundamental to this nature of this reality. You'll see Brahma facing the 4 directions. You'll see the pyramid as a wonderful structure of the nature of being. The Great Pyramid having 9 sides above the ground and 1 side below. So 4 brings us back to 9. 4 also is a dynamic expression of the polarity of 2. And 4 is also an expression of the mystic number of 2 and 4, which is 3. And when we consider 4 in such a way, and bring 4 back to its unity, it becomes number 5. And when we shed 5 into its polarity, it becomes a number 10, which is back to 1. And when we consider 5 as a mystic number of 6, 6 is once again an expression of the dynamic polarity, but expressed through the Trinity. So this confluence of being is an expansion of numbers, if you want to consider it. It's where language comes from. Language was first considered as numbers before it became alphabetical notations. And so the different aspects of the numbers were expressed. Essentially, when you look at the Chaldean, it's really quite interesting to observe this. Because you've got the 9 numbers, and you had the 2 numbers, the 9 numbers, expressed through its field of polarities. So this broke it to 2 sets of 9, which was 18. And the set of 9 was considered through the eyes of 3 aspects. And those 3 aspects were notated to bring us to 21. And 9 the polarity and the Trinity were compounded into a single to become an expression of all, from which all arises. And that brought us to 22. So there we get the 22 fundamental archetypes, the 22 fundamental genomes, without taking into consideration that the 23rd genome is the fundamental expression of polarity, as above so below, male and female. So you can see that the nature of self, the nature of consciousness, the nature of our bodies, the nature of all things do break down to these numbers in terms of the manifestation. So to understand that what you're holding within yourself is what you're bringing from the world, because it's what the world needs to give you in order for you to find you, is a clear expression that everything in life is the teacher. So search the teacher, seek the teacher in life. Seek the teacher in nature when you can, for nature is the perfect harmony of teachings. But life around you is also an expression of nature. Even the concrete jungles you live in, the teacher is present. There's always an opportunity to learn. And the key note to learning is humility. Humility becomes the way in which we can become totally aware that the teacher is always teaching. Do subscribe to this channel so you don't miss daily uploads. I hope you are enjoying the content. I pray you are enjoying the content. I'm going to stop saying I hope. Have a totally fantastic day, or even more fantastic week. Keep it real. Om Shanti.